Hello everyone, welcome to this brand new lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can connect with relational database services, which is also known as RDS, and how you can connect your local computer with RDS. Alright, so we'll be using Python to access RDS from our local computer. That's mean we will be writing SQL queries in a Python, and then we will be also doing here creation, deletion, and object insertion in our RDS. So let's go ahead and get started with this step by step. So you have to first log in your AWS account. Thereafter, find here RDS. All right, type there RDS. Then you will get this relational database management, relational database services. So in this RDS database, we have to first create a database. Then we will be getting the credentials of this database, and based on those credentials we will be able to access this database. So there are a few things which we should look here. The first of all, we have to create a database. So this is Amazon Aura. All right, so there you have option of create a database. So let's go ahead and create this database. Now click on this database. Thereafter you will be getting here this create database. All right, so these are a few processes which we have to follow. So the first of all, we have to select which method we want to create a database. We are going to select here standard create. Thereafter, this engine type, we are going to select here MySQL. All right, so engine type MySQL is selected here. Then it says that MySQL community version, and we are going to use here 8.0.17. That's mean this is latest version. With this, you can know about the limitations of MySQL database. And I'm going to say that I'm going to use here a free tier version of RDS. That's mean I should not get charged if I use this database. Thereafter, this is a default name. All right, so this is a database identifier name. We should save these things for a later purpose. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to write this one. All right, so just simply copy it, and then I'm going to paste it here. It says that I'm going to say that, okay, this is database 1. Then we have got here credentials setting, and its username we have here admin, and this username is admin here. Thereafter, we are going to set here a password. So for this password, I'm going to make here a simple password. All right, so password I'm going to do here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. All right, so this is going to be a password for this, although you can change your password, otherwise anybody can access your database. So there, this password is set for this master username and database. Thereafter, it says that what is going to be the instance size. We are going to select here only DB T2 micro because we are using here a free tier services. Thereafter, it says that how much storage we want, and it says that if we enable it, then auto scaling will be enabled, and it will be able to be able to scale its overall database. Then we have here a connectivity. So currently we are having here a default connectivity there, and subnet group and public access I'm gonna say there S. Thereafter, it says that these are some existing VPC security group. Do remember this security group, we have to change it later. All right, once this database is created, then I'll show you how you can change this security group. Thereafter, other things we are gonna leave as it is, and this port number is 3306, which is by default port. All right, thereafter we have to also take the host name, that is the endpoint. Later we will get it. It says that password authentication, that's mean we can access this database by passing this password, host name and port, and as well username. These are the additional configuration. We don't need to do anything in this additional configuration, and this says that we are going to enable here a backup and other things. I think you can leave these things as it is. We don't need to change anything. In meantime, while it is creating, as I told you earlier, that we have to work on security group. All right, so what we can do here, we can open here this services, and then we need to open here this security group. Alright, this security group is actually available inside this EC2 instance. So you need to open this EC2 instance. Once you open this EC2 instance, there we have to set our security group so that it can accept the connection at that port, that was 3306 port. So by default it is not accepting any connection there, so we have to come here inside this security group. And inside this security group, I already have a 6 security group, but I want to show you that how you can create a new security group. So click on this new security group, and I'm gonna say here RDS Python. Alright, that's mean we are gonna use here RDS with the Python. And then same thing I'm gonna say here RDS Python. Thereafter it is using this VPC, that's okay. And in this inbound connection, now you can define here from which port, from which protocol and port you want to access this RDS database. I'm gonna say here I'm gonna access all traffic and from all sources, that's mean anywhere. Alright, and if you are worrying about the security, then you should select here some particular IP address, port range, etc. to make it more secure. For this tutorial purpose, I'm selecting all traffic, all port and all IP address. That's mean anybody can access if they have these user credentials. Alright. Thereafter, once it is done, then create this security group. It will take a while to complete this security group, and it says that it is accepting the connection from all traffic. Once it is created, then you need to again come back here, and in this you have to click on this database one. While this database one is creating, this modify option is not coming. In meantime, you can also see these credentials which we had copied earlier. Username is admin and the password is 1234567 alright, and the port is 3306. Once this database is created, then we will be getting this option modify. There we can change this security group. Alright, otherwise if you click on this security group, we will be redirected to this EC2 instance. We don't want to be here. Let's go ahead and go back there. Alright, so we are waiting if this database is created, and it should be created by now. We have to wait for a few seconds, perhaps 1 and 2 minutes after that database is created, and it says that yes, it is available. Do remember we had created this new security group. Now we need to apply this security group on this database, otherwise we will not be able to access this database from outside of EC2 instances. Alright, so there you have to come on the security page, this connectivity actually. So there is default security, and if you remember, we had created this RDS Python, and we have opened this RDS Python for outside network. That means one more thing, I think I had just missed that. I want here this immediately. Alright, then modify this DB instance, and it says that they successfully modified instance database 1. And if you open this database now, and it says that here a new security group is being added and the previous one is being removed. So you have successfully created your RDS database at AWS. This is host address, that's mean this is an endpoint, and you need to put this endpoint here. So with this, what do you get? So you have got these information from here. So we have got here a database instance identifier database 1, that is not required. So these 4 part we need here: username, password, host name and port name. So let's go ahead and connect this RDS with our local computer in which we will use here Python. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create here, inside this download a new folder, and the new folder name I'm gonna put here RDS Python. Alright, so inside this RDS Python, I'm going to create a Jupyter notebook. Do remember you need here some Python coding framework. So there I'm going to create here the Anaconda Jupyter notebook. Otherwise, if you don't have Anaconda Jupyter notebook, you can create any other the Python resources here, like you can open your VS Code and other things. So there I have got it, Anaconda. Let's go ahead and copy this address. Thereafter I'm gonna do here change directory, and then I'm inside this RDS Python. Thereafter I'm saying here Jupyter Notebook. All right. Do remember once again, you can use any Python IDE, whether it is Jupyter Notebook or the Visual Studio Code. All these you can use here. All right. So you have opened here a Jupyter Notebook. Inside this Jupyter Notebook, you have to create a Python 3 new notebook. And in this new notebook, we have to rename it. You can rename it from here. That's mean I'm gonna say here access AWS RDS with Python. Python 3 basically you can say. Nowadays the Python 2 is absolute, so of course that we can do that. Let's go ahead and copy this one so that we can give here the heading name as well. It says that access AWS RDS with Python 3. Now once again, we are gonna get these things from there, and I'm gonna put these things here, and then I'm going to say that here these are like a comment. These are like a comment here, and then these are the password, host name, and then we have here a port. All right. Now in a Python, we cannot access directly this RDS. We have to install SQL connector. That's mean MySQL connector. The MySQL connector which we are gonna install it. That is PyMySQL. All right. We are gonna install this one, PyMySQL. So you can get it from here, like this one. Copy this one, and then you have to come here. Thereafter, paste it here. Then you have here this exclamation mark, pip install this PyMySQL. Run this. It will install this Python instance, this Python package in your computer. You can directly install it from Jupyter Notebook itself. Once it is installed, then we have to import it as a PyMySQL, although it is already installed in my computer. If it is not installed in yours, you have to install it. All right, now let's go ahead and import it. You can do here import PyMySQL. All right, type there PyMySQL. You can press here PyMy and then tab. It will automatically complete it. So PyMySQL is imported in your computer. Thereafter, you have to type there once again PyMySQL dot connect. Once you type there dot connect, then you will be getting a lots of input parameter. If you press here shift and the tab, you will see there connect to database, see connections dot connections in it for more information. All right. So the moreover, what you can do here, you can pass the host name. All right. So the host name we have, what is the host name we have? This one is host name. All right. That's mean you can also pass the IP address. So this one is host name. Thereafter, we have to pass here. We have to pass here the username, and currently we have here username is test admin. Thereafter, we have to pass here the password. So the password we have here this 1 2 3 4 5 6 set. All right. Perfect. Thereafter, you can simply run it, and once you run it, you will see there the connection is established. And apart from that, you can also say there db is equal to like this one. So the connection is established in this database. Now you can get the cursor here. So cursor is equal to db dot cursor. All right. So there you have got a cursor instance here. Once you get this cursor instance here, then you can execute any SQL query in the Python, and you can type there like cursor dot execute. All right, dot execute, and there inside this we want to execute an SQL query. So the SQL query which I'm going to execute, that is select version. That's mean it should show us which version we are using. It says that currently we have the one, that's mean it is successfully returning the final result. That's mean it has successfully executed. Thereafter, we have to fetch the data. That's mean cursor dot fetch all. All right, so thereafter fetch all or fetch one. So fetch all means it will fetch all the data, and fetch one will only fetch the first part of the data. And if you print this data, it says that we are currently using here 8.0.17 version of MySQL at our RDS instance. If you remember here, we had created that particular version. All right, perfect, superb. Now let's go ahead and create a table in our database. So how we can create a table? All right, so I'm going to say here create a table. All right, so before we create a table, we have to select a database. Do remember, we have only created here an RDS and database instance at MySQL AWS RDS, but we have not created any database yet here. You can also verify that from configuration that there is no database. Do remember, this one is not a database. This is an instance of a database. We can create a multiple database on this instance. So the first we have to create a database. All right. And for that, I have to create an SQL query. And the SQL query on which we are going to create a database, we are going to say here, create database, and the database I'm going to create here, the KGP Talkie. Thereafter, I have to execute this. How we can execute? Cursor dot execute. All right, then I can pass this SQL inside that. Thereafter, cursor dot. All right, so yeah, so it is executed. All right, thereafter, once you have done this one, then you can hit the enter here. So it says that the database is created here. All right, perfect. So this database KGP Talkie is created. Now let's go ahead and select this database before we create a table. And for that, once again, we are going to copy it here. Then we are going to say here, use KGP Talkie. All right. Then once again, it says that there is 0. That means this one is not present there. All right. I think it should be the cursor dot commit perhaps. No. Cursor dot connection dot commit. Thereafter, it should be able to do this one. All right. Just a second. Let me bring it here. Let's go ahead and run it once again. It says that, okay, database is already available there. All right. And if you want to drop this database, how you can drop it? Just for a testing purpose, you can say here, drop database KGP Talkie. Database is dropped. Let's go ahead and create it once again. Then, all right, this cursor dot connection dot commit is done there. And okay, so it is now using here KGP Talkie database. Once we have created this database, and now we can create a table here. So how we can create a table? It's a simple. We have to execute SQL query, a regular MySQL query. So what is a regular MySQL query here? It's like this one. See, we have here SQL is equal to, thereafter I'm going to say here create table, and then I'm saying here a person, and in that I'm saying here f name, and inside this f name create a person. Thereafter you can do like this. All right, so I'm saying here f name, that's the first name. First name is going to be here a text. Thereafter I'm also going to say here the ID of a person, and it says that not null. ID is actually, I'm going to say here it is int and not null. Thereafter I'm going to say that here this one is auto increment. Thereafter I have got here this first name text. All right, thereafter I'm going to here say last name, that is also going to be the text. Sorry. All right, so with this I have got this ID, first name and last name. Thereafter I have to also say here that which one is going to be a primary key. All right, so you can write here primary All right, so this is primary key. Primary key is equal to ID. So with this SQL query is created, and then we can execute this query. It will automatically create a table named as person. Let's go ahead and run this one. You can simply run it. It says that you have an error in syntax. Perhaps it says that okay, MySQL server near auto increment. All right. Do we have any error here? Let me see. Perhaps this one. All right, so this one is executed now, and it says that a table person is created, and now we can check these table. How you can check it? It's simple. Once again, you have to execute a query. I'm gonna copy it and paste it here, and then I'm gonna say here show tables. All right, once you execute, it says that cursor dot execute. Thereafter, you can say here the cursor dot fetch all, and it says that we have a table named as a person. All right, so this person table is created. Now if you want to execute, if you want to insert here data, you can also insert the data. How you can insert this data? This is going to be also a SQL query here once again. So I'm gonna just copy it here, and then I'm going to paste it here, and instead of writing all those things, a new SQL query will be like this one: insert into, that's mean insert into a table. So the table, I'm gonna say here the person table. All right, then you have got this insert into person table. Thereafter, in that, I'm gonna pass here which variable we want to insert: f name, last name. All right, I think we have only first name, last name, and primary key is ID. So ID I'm not gonna insert, that is auto increment. That's mean it will automatically insert it there. So we have got here a first name, last name. Thereafter, I'm gonna say here values. All right, so in this values, I'm gonna say here what is these values are going to be. That's mean I'm going to insert here these dynamic values in the form of a string. All right, so it will be inserted like a string inside the database. Thereafter, once these things are values, then I'm gonna say here okay percent, and in that I'm gonna pass here like my name Lakshmi, and then there is Kant. All right, so with this, now it should be executed. All right, cursor dot execute. Thereafter, okay, then I can do here db dot commit. All right, let's go ahead and run it. It says that once again I have an error. It seems that somewhere here this is not right. Let me see. Perhaps this one. Okay, just a second. Actually, this is going to be like this one. All right, so this is going to be stop there, and then I can remove this one. All right, so this Lakshmi will be here, this Kant will come here, thereafter it will be inserted. Let's go ahead and run it. Now it says that this is inserted in the database. Let's go ahead and read the table. How you can read this table? You can simply do the same thing here, SQL dot show tables cursor dot execute. So this show table, instead of this show table, I'm gonna say here select all from person. That's mean it will select all rows from a person, and then it will execute and show me what are the data which is inserted. So it says that this data is inserted. Let's go ahead and rerun it once again, one time, and then if you execute this, you should see here there are two rows which is coming out of the database. So Lakshmikant. So these two rows are coming out of the database. That's mean we have successfully established a connection with the Python and AWS RDS. We have successfully created a database, a table, and we have inserted an item. And if you want to describe your table, you can simply do the same thing here. SQL select, instead of select, I'm gonna say here describe. otherwise just disk person, then execute it. It says that I have this table, and in this table these are 3 column is inside this table, and it says that the ID is integer. It's a primary key auto increment. That's mean it will automatically increment whenever I insert a new data inside the database. Then it has here a first name and last name. Now it is up to you how you want to use this RDS database. You can create any type of you can insert any type of the data whatever you want to insert in this database, and then you can play along this database in the Python by using this PyMySQL connector. Alright, perfect. So this is all about in this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching it, and please do like and subscribe this channel so that you can get a notification directly into your inbox. Bye bye. Have a nice day.